You lead a large team successfully. What are some lessons that you've learned while building this, big team around you?
I do. I have a great team around me now. They've all been great. And I always have to, I know that there's a lot of people that say, oh, these millennials, they just don't want to work hard anymore. That has not been my experience. The people on my team at all, they've all been really dedicated, hard workers. They're all smart. They're all nice. They think outside the box, which is really what you have to do in our area. But I will say this, they're not all the same. They all have strengths, but they're not all the same strengths. And I think that helps with the team as well. I have this experience that I sometimes relate about this letter I once read. So being a health law lawyer, most of my, not all, but a lot of my clients are not-for-profits and charities. And so as soon as you become a charity lawyer for one purpose, you get called on to do work for others. So one of my clients is actually a congregation of nuns. They operate a private hospital, so that was kind of like part of, I think, what drew them to me. But one time, I'm going to call her Mother Superior because we all know that term, but they aren't actually called that anymore. But the congregational leader gave me a book on the history of their convent. And in it was a letter that had been sent to her and her reply. She really, I don't think, had intended me to read this, but I don't think she would mind me saying it either. So the letter was from a different congregation altogether, and they were writing to this sister, and they were saying, we have one of our nuns who's a real problem. We can't get her to do what she's supposed to do, and we think she's lazy, and we don't know how to motivate her. What should we do? Her name was not Maria, just for the record. This is not The Sound of Music. My client, she wrote back and she said, your problem is that you are not looking for the gifts that God has given to this particular nun. You need to look for her gifts. And I've never forgotten reading that letter. It was really powerful for me. And so I try to do that with the people on my team as well. They aren't all strong in everything. Some of them are better with certain types of work than others. And I just always try and look for that and find out what that is. The other thing, which you see so much in younger generations now, you didn't see it so much with us, is they work together as teams, right? They are really good at working as teams. Now, that was not something that I ever did when I went to law school, or you do your own work. And when you start working, it's all about advancing yourself. Certainly that way in the medical profession, they're trying to change that there too, to make for, teams of different professionals working together. But it's really like a sea change in how people are trained medically, and we're seeing that at MBA schools and law schools.
Yeah, more collaboration versus
more collaboration.
Right?
Yeah, and it makes for good working teams.
Yeah, I love that story about the letter. It's so powerful.
Yeah, so it was so great.
Yeah. And then what do you do, Lynn, when, have you ever had to let go of someone?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the sad end to that story. Having said, I always look to find the good. I really do. But there are times where, having done that, it's just clear that our type of law or our firm or our group isn't the right thing for that person. So I have had to sever some arrangements. The great thing is that I'm still friends. I still work with many of those people. I say many, there aren't that many. But the few that there are, one of them is really a very good friend. If it doesn't work out in our firm, often we're able to try and we're able to find something else for them that often works out to be better suited for them. So we stay, often we still have a professional relationship with them, but it's just in a different location. And let's face it, the law isn't for everybody. Certainly practicing law in a big Bay Street firm is not for everybody, but it's certainly a great experience for people to have, and they can learn things there that they can apply to a career that might be much more meaningful for them somewhere else.
And do you have a question you always ask people who are coming to work for you or work with your team?
There really isn't. I gotta tell you, law firm interviews are not like many other interviews. There's no skill testing question. There's no, so what did you think of the case of so-and-so? Like, it's not that way at all. Really, it's about, when I interview people, what I want to be able to have conveyed to me is, number one, they're really interested in the area. They can display that based on essays that they've written, courses they've taken, experiences that they've had in summer jobs or volunteering. And then I really want to know that they're able to communicate with me, ideally something complicated. So I will almost always ask them about their favorite course or their favorite essay and ask them to tell me about that. Because particularly at my stage in my career, I don't read cases very often. I'm not doing due diligence. I have them do that, and I want them to be able to do it, my team members, and then explain to me their findings. And they have to be able to do it in writing and orally. So that's something that I look for quite a bit when I'm interviewing people. How articulate are they? Can they explain something complicated to me in a way I can understand?
What is the vision for yourself, Lynne? For the future, what do you have in mind?
Yeah, well, I am 59. So I am definitely, coming into the later end of my career. So what I'm trying to do is to build a good team, like the next generation that can take over this practice. I love building it, and I want to continue building it. I see myself doing more of that and less of the, initial drafting. I'm to the point now, actually, I don't really want to do a first draft. I've got this great team. Give them the problem, they come up with solutions, they present them, they write them up, and I review them. I still do have a lot of contact with the clients, and I really like that.
What advice do you have for aspiring lawyers or other leaders who want to be like you one day?
It's funny, I'll just give this one diversion and then I'll answer that question. At one time, my eldest was considering going into law. I remember it was a Friday, and I was in my kitchen and I was standing up reading an agreement. And the reason I was standing up was because I knew that if I sat down, I'd fall asleep. I hadn't been to sleep at all the night before. We'd had some deal. And that was the particular night that Alex told me that he was interested in studying law. And I said, "Really, Alex?" I'm so touched. I said, "You want to do what I do?" And he said, "Oh, Mom, I don't want to do what you do." Okay, actually kind of glad to hear that. As I say, he went a different direction. But so what would I say to somebody who wants to be like me? First of all, you don't have to work the way I work. But here's what I would say. Keep your options open. Don't close any doors. As a young person, I encourage people to get as many experiences as they can. Every type of work you do will give you some experience that you'll be able to use later in your career. Learn as much as you can, take on as much work as you can. I do have young people, not who I work with, because trust me, they never say that, but I do hear it from other young people working in other places. They're just starting out, "Oh, they're making me work so hard. I have to work a lot of nights and weekends." I'm going, "Okay, you don't have a mortgage. You don't have kids. You don't have a spouse. Now is the time. Work hard now. Decide what's important to you." And I got to say, young people, I think, are much better at doing that than my generation was. My generation kind of assumed what we would do, but I think young people are better now at saying, "This is what's important to me. I want to be a novelist, so I want to work a job that's only 9 to 5 because I want to be able to write in the evening." Or, I like to travel, so I want a job that will allow me to not be chained to a desk in one place. That all still goes very much to the first thing, which is keep your options open. Figure out what you want to do, keep your options open, and learn as much as you can when you're young. Yeah.
And what would you have to say, Lynne, is the greatest lesson you've learned over your entire life, your leadership journey, your career?
Be aware of what you're strong at. Be aware of things that haven't gone quite right. Learn from them and apply them going forward. And don't dwell on them. It's not worth it.